Elementary, fourth grade. That's exciting. Jewel, Oregon, fifth and sixth grade. Got Lincoln Elementary. Welcome. Good morning. Pendleton Learning Academy. Awesome. Some St. Paul schools. We've got North Lake. Lincoln Elementary. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. North Marion, Oregon Trail Academy out in Boring. That's exciting. We have some folks from Lakeview and Hillsborough. That's awesome. Welcome, everyone. All right. Awesome. North Marion. That's exciting. Okay, hello again, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this virtual field trip. We are live today at Hazenberg Dairy in St. Paul, Oregon. My name is Sydney Sables, and I'm this year's Oregon State Dairy Princess Ambassador. I'll be moderating for you today and asking any questions to the farmers so that we can answer those for you. But before we start our tour today, I wanted to go over just a few logistics to make sure we have a great experience. Currently, we have everyone muted, and everyone will remain muted throughout the tour, so that way we can hear our tour guide nice and clear. If you have any questions, you can send them to us using the chat feature. Please only type the questions in the chat. This will help us to see those questions and ask as many as possible so we can learn a lot today during our virtual field trip. But it is now my pleasure to introduce our host and tour guide for today's virtual field trip, Brandon. So go ahead, take it away, Brandon.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody, welcome to Hazenberg Dairy out here in St. Paul. My name is Brandon Hazenberg. I am a third-generation dairy farmer out here, and very excited to have all of you today. Wanted to start off today by thanking the teachers in the classes. Thank you for signing your kids up for this. It's incredible to be able to get the opportunity to speak to kids about agriculture, show them about our cows out here, and do a little bit of learning. So we're very, very appreciative of that. I got a little cheat sheet that I'll reference throughout the whole time. So the first thing we want to talk about today is a definition for you guys, because it's important as we talk about the different types of cattle today for you guys to understand the definition. So a cow, a lot of people just reference a cow. A cow is one of these girls. A cow is a mom. It is somebody who has already had a baby and is producing milk as a mammal right now. So she's getting a good video of them right now, but these are all of our cows. So cows are moms for the tour today, as we understand that. A young female calf is called a heifer. So we're going to do two things today. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about what we feed these cows and how they produce milk. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time at what we call our heifer raising facility, which is where you guys are going to see the baby calves. So I left time at the end for that for sure. For some number stuff for you guys, we are milking about 3,000 cows every single day on this facility. So that equates to your gallon jugs that you guys have in your refrigerators at home, close to 30,000 of those per day. It's a big number. I did the math as well. Your little milk cartons that are in the lunchroom, it's actually about 500,000 milk cartons that you guys would get in the lunchroom per day. So we do have a lot of cattle around here, but we are also very close to Portland and I-5 and are really proud to produce milk and dairy products for the state of Oregon right here. So I'm going to start moving along here. You're going to see in the background a little bit as we start moving. I've got some of my family and some kids that'll be walking around. We have a tour dog over here. His name's Cole, and he'll be with us a little bit. So if you guys have any questions right here off the bat, as I'm walking over to our feed station, I'm more than willing to take a couple questions.
Awesome. All right, we have our first question here. So Centennial fourth grade would like to know how many cows you have on your farm.
Well, so we have 7,000 total, about 3,000 cows and 4,000 heifers is what we've got. We're going to talk a little bit about the feed system right now. Going behind you is actually a delivery wagon right now that you'll be able to see. So we have 13 different types of rations that we're going to feed our cows here. So everyone is for a different age group, and they all have different ingredients. I do not have all of our ingredients here on the table today, but I've got a good portion of what we're feeding them. So one thing I was going to start with you guys is how much does a cow, we're going to talk about our cows right now, how much do our cows eat per day? And that's going to be between about 130 to 150 pounds total per day. So I was thinking of my math. I've got young kids, about the average size of a sixth or seventh grader right there, about 130 pounds. That's what these cows are eating every single day. They are also drinking. This is a 5-gallon bucket. They're drinking about 50 to 60 gallons of water every single day. So about 10 or 11 of these buckets every single day is what they're drinking. In the end, they're producing over 90 pounds of milk per day. So they're taking and converting that 130 pounds of feed and the 50 to 60 gallons of water, and they're converting that into feed. So real quick, I'm going to talk about some ingredients right now as we go. This is our primary ingredient. This is corn silage. So if you guys are ever driving outside of the city and you guys are out there and you see some corn silage, if it's not going for what's called sweet corn, which is what you guys eat, there's silage corn. And you can see there's full corn kernels that are in here. It's the stalk and everything. This is probably about 40 to 50% of their diet usually is going to be corn silage. It's a great maker of what's called butterfat, which really gets us all that good stuff, the ice cream, the whipped cream, all the good stuff. We've got grass and clover silage, so it's fermented down, obviously, so it looks a bit brown, but a lot of good stuff with the leaves right here. We also have some protein. Well, when we're backing up, all these things are for protein and for energy. They're just like you guys when you guys are growing up right now. You guys need to be able to have energy, and you have to be able to have protein to have strong bones and be able to basically use all that energy every day. So we treat them like athletes. We're trying to give them a very specific ration that's going to allow them to have a ton of energy every day and produce as much milk as possible and care for their young calves. We have what's called canola right here. It's a byproduct that comes out of mostly Canada and Minnesota and stuff like that from canola oils. We've got what's called ground corn. So this is actually hard corn that we grind down into an absorbable powder basically all the time. So all this is just corn, but it's one of the favorite things of a cow. We also have some soybean meal that's mixed in. Cottonseed is another byproduct that we use to really generate butterfat. So we've got that. Alfalfa hay is another one that's got great forage. The cows love this stuff. It smells great, tastes great. So they love this. And when we mix it all together in that wagon that you guys just saw, we get what's called our TMR. It's a total mixed ration. And this right here is a version of that. So you can see a little bit of the corn, the grasses, the forages, the proteins, and then all the grains in there. The things that I don't have on the table right now is, I know most of you should be getting them, is vitamins. There's a variety of vitamin packs that go into all of our cows' feed to make sure that they've got enough energy to care for their calf, to grow their calf, and all of that. So with that, I was going to make sure we showed you guys some things about what we're talking about. Cottage cheese, yogurts. One of my favorites always, the Tillamook block cheddar cheese. I bet you that's in a lot of households around this area. We produce for Safeway Albertson, so there's some Lucerne brand milk that we do produce. And then two of my favorite things, which I think the kids are going to come eat here in a little bit. I know you guys might be jealous, but we've got some Tillamook ice cream on there. And one of my favorites always whipped cream, a good addition to everything. So it's pretty amazing out here what these cows are doing. They're turning all of these feeds and that water into these products for you. The unique thing about a cow, I think we're pretty good on time here. Double check. Excellent. Cows have a very unique stomach. They've got a 4-chambered stomach, and the first chamber in that stomach is called the rumen. That rumen is a large stomach that can fit this roughly 150 pounds of feed and water into that stomach, and what it can do is it ferments it in there. And there are other mammals that have a 4-chambered stomach, but the rumen of a cow is the most advanced and complex rumen that there is in the world for mammals. And we see that with the products that it gives us at the scale that it gives us. So very unique animal. So kids, you guys can have some ice cream as we walk over and go see some baby calves. So if you guys want to have some ice cream, you guys can come do that. And I'm more than willing to take a couple more questions as we walk over and go see some baby calves.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing so much about the feed. We have a few questions here just about the cows in general. Miss Hammer's
Yep.
fourth kindergarten class would like to know why the cows have yellow tags in their ears.
Okay, so every cow, you guys can dive right in. You guys can get that stuff out and get going. Go ahead. The tags allow us to track the cows. Every single cow on here, as she's born, she gets a little RFID tag in her ear and a numbered tag. we've got cattle cards for each of them. So if they have a cold, it's documented. If they receive some sort of what's the equivalent of like a Motrin, like when you guys get sick, that's documented. And we can track the entire cattle's life on these programs, so we can see when they've had issues, what they've been up against, what they've been treated with, and really track all the information of that cattle. Thank you for that question.
Awesome. And then we've had several questions asking about how much milk you get from each cow per day. So we've had several classes interested in that.
90 pounds per day, and that's what they're converting. So they're intaking with their feed about 140 pounds per day, and they're taking in 50 to 60 gallons of water and turning that into 90 pounds of milk every single day.
That's awesome. So they eat a lot of food and produce a lot of milk. So Highland Elementary wants to know how much a cow weighs.
Ooh, okay. Throughout their lifetime, like a good healthy cow right now is maybe 1,400 pounds, so 1,400. That'd be a nice average one. Some girls are upwards of 1,600. And first-time moms, we call those springers. The first-time moms are maybe around 1,000 to 1,100 pounds.
Awesome. And then we've got one final question here for you relating to cows. Do your cows have names? And
Do
that's
our
from
cows have names?
Hawkins class. Yeah.
My kids name a lot of cows, yes. Mostly numbers, but you always find one of your favorites, and those always get names. And it's fun with the name tags because we can track them throughout their lifespan, and the kids can continue to see them.
Awesome. I think that wraps up most of the questions we have so far. So we'll head to the next stop and I'll let you know when we have more.
Awesome. So one thing I forgot to mention is we have what's called Holstein cattle. So ours are the black and white ones. There's about 7 different varieties of cows. Holsteins are the most common, but there's also a lot of other really good ones. But ours are all black and white. So we are moving over to, so as we cross the county road right here, we kind of have our milking facility. We can't go in the milking parlor today because we don't have enough time. But we're coming over to our heifer raising facility and our calf facility. So the first thing we're going to do is check in on the maternity and see if there's any moms that are potentially maybe ready to calve right now and give birth. Then we'll probably start doing some bottle feeding. They got some bottles to show you guys right here as we get going as well. Jump in here. You guys are good. Go ahead. You can go on in, Evelyn. Yep. So this is our maternity raising facility. So in here, all of the cows that you guys see in here, she's going to check out the calves right now. Yes, everybody wants to see this. So I'll start talking about our calves and our bottle program. We, just like all of you guys when you're younger, and I'm sure we have lots of younger siblings in the chat, you've got to be able to care for these young animals. It takes an immense amount of work. So these girls, as they're born, they're on a 10-week program of milk. So these are smaller bottles right now because we're just feeding them because I wanted to be able to show you guys. But the bottles that they usually get are twice that size, 4 quarts twice a day. So they're getting 8 to 10 quarts of milk twice a day, fresh grain, fresh water. After probably about 4 to 5 days, we put them in an individual hutch so we can keep track of them and we don't have any spreading of diseases. I'm sure all the classrooms know nothing about that, about one person getting sick and then the whole classroom getting sick. We really try to avoid that as much as possible. But I mean, they do great. So they're 10 weeks on that program and then they're released up and in. I'm kind of looking to see if we have any fresh calves that are being born right now, and I don't see any. But yeah, so these girls do a great job. Ear tags on this one. This girl was born, she's already 9 days old. So yeah, get my sheet here.
Awesome. We do have a couple questions for you if you're ready for
fire
those.
away. Absolutely.
Okay, so Miss Durst's first grade class wants to know if you have any boy cows on your farm.
We do. So we have, as they're born, we have lots of boys, but they actually are at a different ranch. That's a great question. Out of the 7,000 total head that we talked about earlier, maybe we have 10 to 15 males that are on site. So we move them to a beef ranch right away, basically. So this is almost primarily all females that are here on our site. It's a great question.
Awesome. And then Mrs. McBain's class wants to know how many cows you have that are currently pregnant.
Wow, what a great question. This barn that I'm standing behind, every single girl in here is pregnant. So I think right now that the answer to that question with the 350 dry cows, that maybe over 1,500, 1,600 cows that are pregnant right now. And at least might be higher than that, maybe about 1,800, and probably 500 of them are, we're calving right now. I guess that would be the number that would be interesting for the kids. We're calving, so we're dropping 450 babies a month right now. So there's 450 calvings every single month. So
Awesome.
they're on 9-month gestation periods, just like humans. So we're about 9 full months to come to term on pregnancy.
Awesome. That's a lot of baby calves. So,
That's a lot of
Roger's
baby cows.
class, they would like to know how many babies a cow can have in the cow's lifetime.
Oh, that's a great question. That just depends on some genetics and other factors, no different than your families at home. On average, I would say probably 4 to 5 what we call calvings or lactations, because with each calving, obviously comes a new lactation. We call lactation like a milk curve. So as they start giving milk, they go through a curve where they start getting to peak milk, and they're giving their peak milk. Well, just like any other mammals, as that lactation dries up, the milk production will fall off. So there's a rotation of cattle that we're constantly moving through with new incoming pregnant cows and calvings, and cows in the herd that are coming off of a lactation and drying up. And those cows are either going to be pregnant again, basically, or they'll end up moving farms to a different ranch, is how we do that.
Perfect. And then one more question here for you. We actually had two classes ask this. So Mrs. Knight's third grade and then Mrs. West's second and third grade class. They all want to know how much does a baby cow usually weigh?
Okay, when they start, that's a little, but maybe around 50 to 60 pounds initially. You know what I mean? Some will be as high as 75 and stuff like that, but 50 to 60 is a good average range.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely. We're going to go over and show them in the individual hutches right here. So when they're initially first born, just like everybody else, they have to learn how to bottle feed. So we wanted to give you guys an example of showing that, and I'll show you guys where the girls are actually staying and where their food and water and grain and their little hutches are right here. You can go, no problem. Thank you, Jorge. And these ones right here are 3 days old right now. So they are very anxious and they're still learning how to drink. So you can see we'll get a bottle and a bottle holder, and they're going to learn. It's important for them to have access to fresh water and fresh grain every day because they're learning, guys. They're only 3 to 4 days old. So you'll see in a bucket right there, she's filming them eating right now. And yeah. Awesome animals. It just takes a tremendous amount of care to be able to care for these animals. There is a lot of them. That's why I think we have a great staff. One of the coolest things for me is I didn't really always know that I wanted to get into farming, but I always loved agriculture. I love being outside. I love working with people, and we've got a great staff here at the farm that shows a lot of care for our animals.
Going off of that a little bit, we had a question from Highland Elementary, and they wanted to know how many people you have that work on your farm with you and your family.
So we have just under 50 employees that needs to make this thing work daily. And then we have a variety of people, because I'm not an expert at anything, not especially with nutrition, with veterinarian protocols and stuff like that. So we have a ton of outside resources that we rely on for a lot of our big decisions. My biggest role is making sure we've got great protocols, great resources for our employees, a really good environment for our cattle to be in, and obviously all the other stuff that goes into being a farmer, taking care of our land, taking care of our waterways. Yeah, just really proud to do it out here. So.
Awesome. And then we also had Mr. Lutheran's class out of Corvallis. They want to know how long your family has been in the dairy farming industry.
1964, so 61 years this dairy has been here in this location. I am third generation, and then, before that though, my grandfather had a dairy up in there, so I think our family's been dairying in a couple different spots for close to 100 years, up in Washington before that, and before we moved down here. So yeah,
Awesome. Thank you.
let's walk this way. I think we got a couple more minutes here. So so really appreciate the opportunity to be here with everybody today. I know we're running short on time. Like I said, I just really want to say thank you again to the teachers. You guys are amazing for signing your kids up for these classes. We hope they're educational, and guys and girls, hope you guys want to continue to learn more about agriculture. Super, super important for what we're doing. Hi, Cole. This is Cole. You guys didn't get to see a little bit. He's the farm tour dog all the time right here. So should have introduced him earlier. Might have had more questions about him. Yep. These are our close-up pens where we're at right now. So we did have the maternity on that side, but kind of all the girls you see here will have a calf within probably the next 30 days, 30 to 35 days. So takes constant 24-hour a day supervision. We have people walking these pens about every 30 to 40 minutes, checking for cows going into labor and showing signs of labor. So very, very technical. And you guys can go inside if you want. You can let them in. Absolutely. Kids are trying to stay out of the way, but they want to go play with the calves right now. So, um, yeah, about 45, 50 people. Let's see if there's anything else we missed for you guys.
I do have a couple more questions for you as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys can go ahead. I know we're real close.
Awesome.
So,
Mrs. Knight's third grade class, they want to know how old is your oldest cow?
I just checked that in the computer the other day. She's just over 9.5 years old, and I can't believe that's long. That's been a long, long time. So 9.5 years old is the oldest one.
Awesome. And then Mrs. Reed's North Marion third grade class, they want to know how long cows typically live for.
Um, it's going to be around that same time. I think 9 to 10 years would be a good answer for you. 9 to 10 years.
Awesome. So that cow is definitely pretty old. That's exciting that she's still on the farm and being a good producer for you.
Yep.
Highland Elementary also wants to know if you allow visitors to come visit your farm. So if they want to come see it in person, are they allowed to come, or do you do tours or anything like that?
Ab- Absolutely. And we're starting to do more and more tours, so we want to have that accessible. So if there is any interest, I'm sure their teachers and administrators could get in touch with probably be the Oregon Dairy Council or anybody through Ag in the Classroom could share my information. We'd be more than glad to be able to host anybody out here if they wanted to come and learn.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. We ripped through a bunch of information pretty quickly. So yeah, 6 minutes left. That's cool. We are going to go see a little bit more calves is what I want to do with you guys if you guys are cool. I'll show you a little bit bigger. If you want to see them for a little bit, you guys absolutely can. So these girls, like I said, they're 10 weeks on the milk program right here. Getting the kids outside and being around cattle is just amazing for them right now, though.
Awesome. While we're watching this adorable footage of some baby calves, I've got two more questions for you here.
Absolutely.
Mrs. McBain's class, they would like to know how many acres is your farm? Like, how big is it?
So we have about 1,000 acres of our own property that we farm, but that's not enough to grow all of our own feed. So we do work with a bunch of local partners, and um, at least locally, right here in the Willamette Valley, we're probably having about total with ours and theirs maybe about 3,000 acres of feed that's grown for us. But a lot of those byproducts that we saw earlier, the ground corn, the canolas, the soybean meals, they're coming more from the Midwest, anywhere from Iowa, Missouri, Minnesota, even Saskatchewan up into Canada and stuff like that. And those equivalents are in the thousands of acres as well. So for a farm this size, we definitely need total all in with everybody that we work with, probably about 7,000 to 8,000 acres worth of feed to feed our head annually. It's a great question.
Awesome. And then we have a few questions here about the milking process. Unfortunately, we don't have time to see the milking parlor, but maybe a few questions you could answer for us. Miss
Absolutely.
Reed's class, they would like to know how long it takes to milk a cow.
About 7 minutes. We're going to go in right over here and I'll get in the back right. Yeah, about 7 minutes to milk a cow. So that would be really fun to be able to show you guys that right now. We milk 100 cows at one time is how we do things at this farm. It's called a double 50 parallel. We're milking 50 head at a time. It takes about 7 to 8 minutes to milk each cow. And it's nice. There's all sorts of automation that goes into that process. So for us, it's making sure that there's a clean environment for the milking to happen and making sure cows are extremely comfortable. Other than that, there's a lot of automated technology that does the work once the machine gets attached to the udder right there. It's actually a very, very cool process. And there's some really cool updates with technology, just like in every area right now. We're really looking forward to some new ways of doing things here in the next 10 to 15 years for sure.
That's awesome. That's a super quick process. 7 minutes isn't very long at all. And
Nope.
then we had one more question about the milking process. Franklin's fifth grade class, they would like to know how often your cows are milked.
3 times per day. So it's about half and half on dairy farms right now. Some people do 2 times a day, other people do three. Ours are milked 3 times a day. So you can imagine that we got the 3,000 cows that we're milking each day 3 times per day. So there's actually 9,000 milkings that are going on each day. The cow does not give you the full 90 pounds in one milking. That's the total for the day. So she's averaging about 30 pounds per milking. And that'd be a fun math problem for you guys if you were doing it and they were 2x, they would be around maybe 45 pounds, producing the same total amount of milk basically, but split up between 2 or 3 milkings. So all the milk cows, heifers are fed one time per day. So everybody on this side of the road gets fed one time per day. Our entire milk herd actually gets fed twice a day with fresh feed. We try to push that up. One of my nutritionists told me, so you guys might like this analogy. They talk about cows wanting to go to the bunk and they need their food. They need it as an athlete. They talk about it like a cereal bowl, about how easy in a bowl of cereal it is to get your first 10 scoops out of a bowl of cereal. That's having a good mixture readily available. And at times when they start to eat, the food gets away from them. We'll actually go over here, and if we have a minute, I'll show you. But it's important to push that feed up every time so they have the ability to get as much feed as possible at all times, because they are, we talked about it earlier, they're 1,500 pound animals. It takes a lot of energy for them to get up and move around. So making sure we take care of them. I mean, their legs are incredibly important to be super strong. They're carrying a ton of weight with babies and milk in there every single day. So getting them easy access to feed is one of the most important things you can do as a dairyman.
Awesome, that's great. And then I've got one more just kind of overall question about the industry. So Mr. Howard's Highland class, they would like to know if the dairy industry, if your farm, if it's healthy for the planet.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the stories that dairymen would love to tell more, is all the incredible things we're doing for the planet. You can't find these nutrient dense proteins that you get from cattle just available anywhere. And the integration of the cattle and the land and the water, it's something that's just really, really unique, and it's special, and it's important for us to take care of all those things. So that's part of our extended tours when we're doing things. We want to talk about sustainability. We don't have time for all of that today, but there's a ton of ways that this is very healthy for individuals and healthy for our planet.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon. Now, before we finish this virtual field trip, we all want to know, what is your favorite part about being a dairy farmer?
Um, I love being outside, so I love the land. I love the cattle. I love raising my family like this. And it, oh, Kenley, and you get a sense of fulfillment in food production. Not everybody gets to do it these days, and it's something that really proud to do. And I know all dairy farmers in Oregon and Washington and across the region are really, really proud of it. So great question to finish things up on.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon, for taking the time with students to talk about Hazenberg Dairy. And thank you to all of our students and classrooms for joining us today. Teachers, please keep a lookout for some follow-up activities that will be sent to your email shortly. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed the tour. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks, guys.